Welcome to Winnie Luna Nahian Eduk channel on mathematics and other related topics. In this video, we are going to discuss about basic statistics. Our outline of this presentation: definition of statistics, basic concepts in statistics, major fields in statistics, levels of measurement, and then our learning objectives to be able to define statistics, to understand the basic concepts in statistics, to differentiate the major fields in statistics, to distinguish the different levels of measurement. So those are our objectives. Now, the first question is, what is statistics? Statistics in plural sense is just a set of numerical figures. In singular sense, it is a branch of science which deals with the collection, organization, analysis, interpretation, and presentation of data. So in singular sense, there are 5 key elements when you're talking about statistics. And in plural sense, it is just a set of numerical figures. Example: population count of the different provinces in the Philippines, daily peso-dollar exchange rate, performance evaluation scores of the personnel, ratings of students. Now, let's come to basic concepts in statistics. We have here population. So this is the entire group that you want to draw conclusions about. So that's population. Then sample, it is the specific group that data are collected from. The size of the sample is always less than the total size of the population. And as you can see in the illustration, the population is wider, is bigger than a sample. A sample is just a subset of a population. Now, example of population and sample. So, we have here all women aged 20 to 60 in region 10. That's our population. Then our sample, women aged 20 to 60 in region 10 with 2 children. So, the sample is smaller than the population, or is just a part of the population. Let's have example of population and sample. A manufacturer of water heaters want to determine if customers are satisfied with the performance of their product. Toward this goal, 5,000 of his 200,000 customers are contacted, and each is asked, "Are you satisfied with the performance of the kerosene heater you purchased?" So, this is the situation. Now, let's identify the population and sample. So, it is now very clear that the total customer, 200,000 customers, serves as our population, while the 5,000 taken from that 200,000 customers, these 5,000 customers who were contacted to answer the survey, serves as our sample. Let's have variable, observation, and data. Variable, it is a characteristic or attribute of the elements in a collection that can assume different values for different elements. An observation is a realized value of a variable, and data is the collection of observations. here, let's have an illustration. Let X be the age of the participants. N equals 35. The participants, meaning to say, there are 35 participants. If we are going to collect observation on each of the 35 participants we get, so our participants here are arbitrarily represented by X, and X has subscript to indicate that X sub 1 is a participant different from X sub 2. Then we have also X sub 3 up to X sub 35. So they are unique individuals. Then they have their ages. So X sub 1 is 30 years old, X sub 2 is 29 years old, X sub 3 is 30 years old, and X sub 35 is 36 years old. So, the ages of the participants are our observations. And then, if we take all those observations, what we have is a data. So we have here a set of data about the ages of the 35 participants. We have here another example. We have uppercase letter A, which stands for the number of legislative districts. Uppercase letter B stands for favorite colors of the employees. We have here uppercase letter X, which is the enrollment in elementary and secondary schools. Uppercase letter Y, daily allowance of students. Then uppercase letter Z, number of years in the public service. Now, variables are also classified. We have here categorical variables, which is about the categories, or which take categories as their values, such as yes, no, or blue, brown, green. So, categorical values do not comprise numbers. These are just some kind of description or idea. Then we have numerical variables, which have values that represent a counted or measured quantity. So when you say numbers, that's quantitative variable. And under numerical variables, we have discrete variables, which arise from a counting process. And we have also continuous variables, which are from a measuring process. So we have two classification of variables: categorical variables, that's qualitative, then numerical variables, that's quantitative. Now, what is this qualitative variable? It is something that yields categorical responses, have labels or names assigned to respective categories. Examples: salary grade level. So you have salary grade 1, salary grade 2, salary grade 3, and in the context of in the Philippines, for example, our president has the highest salary grade. Then, sex of the respondents, that's about male, female, because there are only two sexes. Then, type of school, public, private. Then quantitative variable is something that takes on numerical values representing an amount or quantity. Example, weight. Okay, so you have 120 pounds, 25 kilos, 90 milligrams, etc. Number of school divisions, 1, 2, 3, 4. Estimated monthly income of a household, 4,000 or higher than that. Then parameter versus statistic. Parameter is a summary measure describing a specific characteristic of the population. Then statistic is a summary measure describing a specific characteristic of the sample. So these two terms have their specific application. Parameter is used when you're talking population. A statistic when you're talking about the sample of a population. In order to estimate the true proportion of employees who regularly exercise, the personnel department of Company A polled a sample of 120 employees and determined that the proportion of employees from the sample who regularly exercise is 0.25. So it can be understood that only 25% of the employees regularly exercise. Now, in this situation, our population is the collection of all employees of Company A. So that's our population. Our sample is the collection of 120 employees of Company A. Then the parameter here, true proportion of employees who regularly exercise. Most of the time, the value of the parameter is unknown. No? In most cases, the value of the parameter is unknown. A statistic, proportion of employees in the sample who regularly exercise. The value of the statistic for this sample is 0.25. Okay. It's now clear that in the given situation, we're able to determine the population, sample, parameter, and statistic. Two major fields of statistics. Applied statistics, concerned with the procedures and techniques used in the collection, presentation, organization, analysis, and interpretation of data. And the other one, theoretical or mathematical statistics, concerned with the development of the mathematical foundations of the methods used in applied statistics. So it's now clear between applied statistics and theoretical or mathematical statistics. Two major areas of applied statistics. Descriptive statistics. This includes all the techniques in organizing, summarizing, and presenting the data on hand without drawing conclusions or inferences about a large group. Then inferential statistics. This comprises all the techniques used in analyzing the sample data that will lead to generalizations about a population from which the sample came from. Okay, so descriptive statistics is quite different from inferential statistics. Measurement is the process of determining the value or label of the variable of interest based on what has been observed. Now, levels of measurement. We have nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio. The level of measurement is one of the considerations in choosing the appropriate statistical tool to analyze the data. So we have to be observant in using our statistical tools. We have to understand the kind of data we have at hand. Levels of measurement nominal. Nominal satisfies the following properties. The numbers in the measurement system are used to classify an element into distinct, non-overlapping, and exhaustive categories. Categories are of equal importance. Examples: civil status, single, married, separated, widowed. Sex, male, female. Level of measurement ordinal. Ordinal satisfies the following properties. The numbers in the measurement system are used to classify an element into distinct categories. The system arranges the categories according to magnitude. Examples: socioeconomic classification, A, B, C, D, and E. So, our uppercase letters here stand for an economic status of a person. So, A must have a specific range of income a person should have for him to be classified in that socioeconomic status. Highest educational attainment. So you have no formal education, elementary level, elementary graduate, high school level, high school graduate, college level, college graduate. Levels of measurement interval. Interval satisfies the following properties. The numbers in the measurement system are used to classify an element into distinct categories. The system arranges the categories according to magnitude. The system has a fixed unit of measurement representing a set size throughout the scale. The system has no true zero. Examples: temperature in degrees Celsius, Fahrenheit, intelligence quotient, 75, 100, 120, 150, etc. Then levels of measurement ratio. Ratio has all the following properties. The numbers in the measurement system are used to classify an element into distinct categories of the variable. These categories are non-overlapping and exhaustive. The system arranges the categories according to magnitude. The system has a fixed unit of measurement representing a set size throughout the scale. The system has an absolute zero. Examples: height in meters, feet, etc. Weight in kilograms, pounds, monthly household expenses in Philippine peso. So these are examples of ratio. In the levels of measurement, we can observe that between ratio and interval, the only thing that they differ is in terms of having a zero or not. Okay? So some of the properties are present in all the levels of measurement, and there are properties that is unique to that level of measurement. Now, admissible process for analysis. Now, you have to remember the properties, the properties of the levels of measurement: nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio. So for the property about numbers are used to classify an element into distinct categories of the variable, this can be interpreted about the equality, Then admissible process group together observations in the data with the same values and count how many belongs in the same category. So you have to determine the frequency counts that belong to a certain group. Then the next property, categories are arranged according to magnitude. That's about ordinality. So greater than, less than. So arrange the observation in the data according to magnitude. Just like the birth order of the children in the family. Okay, and there are many. No, there are many. Which can be considered as ordinal. There is a fixed unit of measurement representing a set size throughout the scale. So that's difference. Some all observations get the difference between two observations. Then has an absolute zero. So this is ratio. Compute for the ratio of two observations. Variables and levels of measurement. So you can see qualitative, nominal, and ordinal. Quantitative, interval, and ratio. And these are just some of the exercises. Specify if the data are qualitative or quantitative, indicate the level of measurement. Annual income, that's quantitative. What about the level of measurement? Annual income. Okay, that's for you to review the discussion of this presentation. Mga mates, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for giving your precious time just to watch this video. Bye-bye.